Hello, my name is Brian Nevins, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the physics of balancing on unicycles. Now intuitively, balancing on a unicycle should involve keeping your center of mass directly over the point of contact between the wheel and the ground. Now normally, this upright position is an unstable equilibrium, meaning that even the slightest lean from it will cause you to fall over pretty quickly. But practiced unicyclists are able to pedal in such a way that this upright position becomes a stable equilibrium, and they're able to remain upright. So in this video, we're going to be looking at how and why this balancing can be accomplished from a physical perspective. We can model this system as a simple inverted pendulum, with the rider as the point mass at the top, with a displacement of the base of the pendulum being given by a function z of t. The linear acceleration of the wheel, z double dot, is determined by the pedaling of the rider. So we can let z double dot equal g times a dimensionless function h, which describes the pedaling of the rider. Then standard classical mechanics lets us find the equation of motion for this system. In order to determine whether the upright position is stable for a given pedaling function, we are going to model the balancing effects of the linear acceleration of the unicycle as a pseudoforce acting on the rider's center of mass. The magnitude of this force is given by m times g times the pedaling function h. Qualitatively, we can see that in order for the unicycle to be stable upright, the torques due to gravity and the pseudoforce must in some way balance out. We can better understand the pseudoforce by considering the system in an accelerating reference frame that moves according to the function h. That is, from our perspective, the base of the unicycle will be stationary, and a force due to the acceleration of the frame will be acting on the center of mass of the rider. Describing the effect of the linear acceleration as a pseudoforce allows us to create what I'll refer to as a pseudopotential. That is, an effective potential energy due to the pedaling of the rider that appears in this accelerating reference frame. The equation for this pseudopotential is found by integrating the pseudoforce over a characteristic length. Combining this with the gravitational potential allows us to create a potential energy diagram, which we can use to evaluate the stability of the upright position. We now want to find a working h, so that the upright position is a stable equilibrium of the system. First, let's try a sinusoid. After all, inverted pendulums do have the ability to stabilize when driven vertically at the proper frequency. Perhaps the same is true for horizontal driving. Using a sinusoidal h gives us an effective potential curve that looks like this, and varies with time. Averaged over one cycle, it looks like this. Regardless of frequency or amplitude, this potential curve never yields a stable equilibrium at theta equals 0. So attempting to pedal a unicycle sinusoidally will always result in you falling over. A better method of pedaling is to use a simple feedback model, where the rider accelerates the unicycle based on the angle of lean. This gives us h proportional to theta, which gives us a potential curve that, for a greater than 0, looks like this. When a is greater than 0, the upright position becomes a stable equilibrium and the rider is able to stay upright. With this feedback model, the rider will oscillate around theta equals 0, but will not fall over. In this reference frame, total energy, including the pseudopotential energy, is conserved, and thus the rider will continue to oscillate as long as he's riding. However, if we refine our feedback pedaling model to include the rate of change of the angle of lean, we can simulate a rider who is able to damp out these oscillations. The damping lowers the total energy of the system until the rider is able to remain straight upright. An interesting consequence of this refined model is that as the rider approaches the straight upright position, the unicycle approaches a constant velocity in the direction of the initial lean. This is in fact an observed phenomenon by unicyclists, and is why the standard process of learning to unicycle begins with balancing while riding forwards, and only later moves to idling or maintaining a certain position by oscillating around it. So, we've seen that pedaling a unicycle in a way that responds to both the angle of lean and the rate of change of that angle allows you to move forward while remaining stable and upright. This can be explained by considering the different effective potential energies created by different ways of pedaling. I want to give a special thank you to Dr. Amy Kolan of the St. Olaf Physics Department, who helped me think through and better understand the physics of this system. Also to Dr. R.C. Johnson of the University of Durham, whose paper on unicycles and bifurcations provided a lot of the inspiration for this video and also helped me to understand feedback as the key to stabilizing a unicycle. Special thanks also to Peter Jones, my unicyclist friend, who helped me to make this video. If you're interested in a more strictly mathematical approach to this kind of system, Professor Alan Oppenheim of MIT has an excellent lecture that I'll link in the description. He takes a very mathematical approach and arrives at the same conclusions that I did regarding how to stabilize an inverted pendulum. Thank you all for watching.